Are you ready for the Sagittarius full moon at 20 degrees on June 11, 2025 at 3:44 a.m. Eastern? This is about questioning, changing, and what have you learned about your beliefs and philosophies. Let's talk about it. Pew. Hey everybody, it's Eric Taylor, BigEAstro, back with another transit video, and happy June. Well, June 11th is soon approaching, and we're talking about the Sagittarius full moon. Well, that moon is ruled by the planet Jupiter, which on June 9th enters the sign of Cancer. Well, Jupiter is at home in Sagittarius and Pisces, and when it's in Cancer, it's exalted. It's at its highest form, and it will increase your emotional intelligence. It will kind of bring you back home to yourself. And Jupiter in Cancer is about awakening up the divine feminine, right? Returning home, homeschooling, and making you feel a little bit more safe and secure in a very wild and hectic 2025. Well, it's Gemini season, and the sun and moon on a full moon are opposing each other at 20 degrees. This one is really special, right? It's a strawberry full moon. And what happens is we have a Grand Mutable Cross, right? The Pisces North Node at 23 degrees, the Virgo South Node at 23 degrees, the Gemini Sun at 20 degrees, and the Sagittarius Moon at 20 degrees. At the same time, this ruler of the moon, Jupiter, is in the sign of Cancer, conjunct Mercury. We also have Venus back home. She is happy at 5 degrees in Taurus, making a square to Pluto retrograde at 3 degrees in Aquarius. So there's going to be some things around our finances that we're going to have to face, as well as our health. But what has changed in your life since 2020? What new wisdom have you gained? What new beliefs and philosophies have you changed? Have you become less religious and more spiritual? Have you become more religious and found, whether it was Hinduism or Buddhism or Muslim or Jewish faith or Christian or Catholic? There have been many different iterations and experiences for many people. And a lot of people have been going through what we know and call spiritual awakenings. Well, this Sagittarius full moon and this mutable Grand Cross is really also focusing on, are you practicing compassion, empathy, grace, and mercy for yourself and others, right? Leaving the judgment behind. And that Virgo South Node is saying, please retire from the negative self-talk. Stop being so self-critical and overly nitpicky and critical of others. So with the Sagittarius full moon, we're very focused on the right thing to do. Do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. The law, your beliefs, expansion, and expanding your consciousness at this time. This Grand Mutable Cross is really asking, have you been putting in the work? And if so, what have you learned? And if you've learned something new, are you ready to feel emotionally secure and integrated into your life for your new beliefs and philosophies and identity? So let's get to the chart. We're definitely going to see, we've also got a Grand Fire Trine. So we'll talk about that with Mars and in Leo, the Sagittarius Moon, and Eris and Chiron and Aries. And this is also an opportunity as we're moving our body to really transmute out past wounds where we did not assert ourselves, where we did not follow our hearts. Mars and Leo want you to follow your heart. The trine to the Sagittarius moon become aligned with new beliefs and philosophies to walk into that independent energy and heal that wound of the I am with Eris and Chiron and Aries. So are you up to the task? I think you are. So let's go look at the chart and really understand and break down the chart of this Sagittarius Strawberry Full Moon on June 11th at 3:44 a.m. Eastern. BigEAstro. All right, well, here we go. Look at this chart. This is Pacific Coast, and it's at 12:44 a.m. Pacific, 3:44 p.m. a.m. Eastern, and we have a Pisces rising. Okay, remember we talked about the nodes. We're going to look first at this Sagittarius Moon up here at 20 degrees, right, and opposing the Gemini Sun at 20 degrees. Now, you see Uranus here on its way July 7th going into Gemini, still at that 28th degree. And soon we'll get to the energetic critical 29th degree, where we're going to have some major issues with resources, food, even values and self-worth. We see the Venus in Taurus, right? And that's squaring the Pluto in Aquarius from 5 to 3 degrees, okay? We'll talk more about that in a second. But the ruler of this of this Sagittarius full moon is Jupiter. Jupiter, exalted in Cancer, just went in 2 days before on June 9th. And it's conjunct Mercury, and Mercury's okay in Cancer, right? Remember, it's at home in Gemini and Virgo, also exalted in Virgo, and it's the analytical, logical, processing mind that's now in your emotional mind. So these people can be a little bit more sensitive, but because they feel, therefore they know. And I think Jupiter in Cancer, this 13th month transit, going until June 30th, 2026, is going to be really nice because it's really allowing us to kind of come back home to our emotional intelligence, what makes us feel safe and secure, right? And sometimes that Sag moon is telling you it can be your wisdom, your beliefs, your philosophies, your willingness to experience adventure. Let's be honest, Sagittarius full moon, it's got to move at hips and thighs. Medical astrology, Sagittarius rules the hips and thighs. And the moon is your body, your health, your intuition, your mother, and the family you create and how you emotionally respond and react to others. So when the ruler of the moon is in its exaltation in Cancer, it's really going to have you tap in to deeper levels of consciousness through your feelings, through your emotions. So yes, is the full moon kind of emotional, Sagittarius? The strawberry full moon? Yes, it is. But it is also because of the Grand Mutable Cross that we have to understand that the Virgo South Node, yes, we want to take care of our gut health. The Virgo Pisces axis is the health axis, but Virgo is at the South Node during this full moon, especially, and at 23 degrees, an Aquarius degree, is asking us to focus on our health, to stop being so over analytical. Perfectionism, no more. Leave that for God, source, creator. Stop nitpicking. Stop being overly critical of yourself. I tell you all the time, I'm a Virgo astrologer. Virgos destroy themselves 100 times before they even get to the next person. And retire from negative self-talk. This Pisces North Node is really speaking to our spiritual practice. No days off, 7 days a week. Enhance and increase your creativity and imagination and have more agape Christ-like love, compassion, empathy, grace, and mercy for yourself first and then outwardly to others. This is going to be a wonderful Sagittarius full moon. But there are still some challenges. We'll get to the Grand Fire Trine and talk more about the Mars, Sag, and Chiron and Eris in Aries. But when you have Taurus squaring Pluto, Venus Taurus is about our money, our finances, our arts, culture, entertainment, and our relationships. Squaring Pluto, this is where we can have some financial questions and issues, some challenges, and also challenges even in our personal relationships where maybe we're feeling like our partner is a little emotionally detached. And, emotions get enhanced and heightened on full moons. So this square could very easily speak to that. Venus will definitely, take the higher notch in this square over the Aquarius Pluto. But Pluto Aquarius does deal with virus. It does bring up the shadow work and really talks about us working on our pain, trauma, and crises in our lives. right? Seeking freedom and liberation. So this square can also speak to at this time, because just so you know, Jupiter and Sagittarius, it is also not just our wisdom, beliefs, philosophies, the teacher, preacher, professor, it's biology and finance. Taurus is the food, our throat chakra. Aquarius can be connected to science, but also, right, pouring out the wisdom and knowledge, freedom, liberation, being the rebel. So this is also speaking to what people are like, hey, I'm going to grow my own food. I want high vibrational clothing. I want sound frequencies. I want, no more fiat currency. I want cryptocurrency, but I want to not have to pay taxes. So with Sagittarius full moon also focusing on finances, this square becomes pretty important, because Venus and Taurus, it's a little nostalgic, but it's classy. It wants classy things. It wants the nice relationship, the nice vehicle and cars. It wants nice linens and fabrics, cotton, organic cotton, linen, and wool. It wants its crystals and gems. And when it's squaring Pluto, it can also create a little insecurity or jealousy, or even, let's be honest, possession and control in the lens of relationships, or sometimes, authoritarian, leaders trying to control our food resources and our finances. So that's kind of laying in the background that we got to consider on the Sagittarius full moon. Will we have issues where our financial system crashes, where we have blackouts and potentially extreme weather that can lead to some sort of chaos? I think overall, Jupiter being exalted in Cancer, Venus being at home in Taurus, I think we're going to be okay with this full moon. But remember, it plays out 6 months until the Sagittarius new moon, and you'll feel it 2 weeks prior and 2 weeks before. So we're already in the energy of this Sagittarius full moon. So let's look at the Mars in Leo and this Chiron in Aries, because we're dealing with Eris and Chiron, right? Venus just left here. And don't forget, Saturn and Neptune, right? They're in a square to Jupiter and Mercury in Cancer. So there could be some restrictions, and limitations, or you have to push through to get your blessings. You got to push through for your higher and lower mind, But I think with Saturn and Neptune and Aries, we've got to be open to taking charge, becoming the president leaders of our own lives, for dreaming that new dream, and for reimagining what it means to come up against obstacles. We all face challenges in our lives. It's about how we kind of get up, dust ourselves off, and get back at it, but also how we're willing to push through to problem solve and really reform the synapses in our frontal lobe in our brain. And that's what Saturn and Aries is really speaking to with this square. But there will be some arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, migraine headaches, some real frustrations when the obstacles come your way. But I do believe that Jupiter in Cancer is to really help us hunker down and really just trust our emotional intuition and intelligence, that we're going to be all right, but that we can really do whatever we set our hearts on in life. And that's where this trine does play a main factor, because Mars in Leo is very much, speaking about our courageous energy. Now, it's pulling away 26 degrees, but you'll still feel it with the trining to Chiron and Eris. And Eris is, about creating discord or higher truth, chaos, to get to a higher truth or spiritual awakening, right? Becoming more sovereign. And that's what this grand fire trine with the Sagittarius moon, Mars in Leo, Eris, and Chiron in Aries is about. Healing that wounding from our childhood. Mars in Leo, live from your heart. Go get it. Go attack and embrace life. Sagittarius moon, align with your beliefs and philosophies and shoot that arrow to go get the bag, to go get the new job, the new spouse, higher knowledge and wisdom and education, to become the guru and shaman, to take your classes with BigEAstro, become a professional intuitive astrologer. Well, at least professional astrologer. The intuitive part, I can tell you in your chart if that is part of your, your calling and your journey. But we all have spiritual gifts. And this strawberry full moon is kind of here to awaken, right? Strawberries are growing at this time. That's why it's a strawberry full moon, right? We've kind of left the spring equinox and we're heading towards the summer solstice on the 21st and getting ready for equal day and equal night, right? And well, actually not equal day and equal night, the longest day of the year, I should say, right? On the solstice. On the equinoxes, we have equal day and equal night. But this is the longest day of the year. And just like December 21st is the shortest day, the winter solstice. So we're really embracing, what it means to walk into the light of summer. And this full moon is what's setting us up to embrace that. Sagittarius full moon, it's about freedom and adventure. Sagittarius, if you don't know, it is actually the bachelor and bachelorette sign. It wants freedom. It wants higher knowledge, but it's culturally open to exploring and learning from anyone and everyone. Sagittarius is about expansion and higher consciousness, right? Think of Scorpio and Sag, right? Scorpio is the truth speaker. Sagittarius is the truth seeker. They both are focused on truth, just in different perspectives. Sagittarius is a little bit more optimistic. Scorpio is a little bit more piercing and maybe pessimistic and looking to reveal the secrets and get into the knowledge, where Sagittarius is looking at the possibility of what else can I learn and what else is out there, what higher forms of knowledge and information and consciousness. It can get dogmatic at times, right? This is definitely about law and order and doing the right thing. So this is not a time to, break any laws, especially with Pluto at Aquarius, age of Aquarius. People who have been dealing in limiting beliefs or lies and secrets, this is the time where it can really come to the light and be revealed, because it's also about communication. And with Mercury and Jupiter in Cancer, there's a lot of knowledge and information coming up that people are feeling and emotionally tapping in and saying, I know this to be true. Because I feel it, I know it's true. Cancer is very sage and wise, and they know what they know because they feel it inside their bodies, usually in their chest or their stomach. So enjoy this Sagittarius full moon. Take advantage of this Grand Mutable Cross that is really aligning us with our health, our spiritual knowledge, being of service to the collective in a spiritual way, and really knowing that we need to be, if we're not, aligned with our beliefs and philosophies. This Sagittarius Strawberry Full Moon will make you really embrace and ask those questions and move towards it. Now, there's always going to be some people who they're not really focusing on their beliefs and philosophies. They're just kind of going through the mundane life of working, coming home, their one vacation a year, this and that, the grind hustle. This is an opportunity to kind of seek higher wisdom and knowledge and expansion, and to get out of that 9 to 5 grind and hustle to really become more aligned with your beliefs and philosophies, with new information that is tapping in to new frequencies to your emotional intelligence. So yeah, this is where you can feel more at home and more aligned with knowing that you are a soul and spirit and not just an avatar body and a human being. What does that really mean, right? So this is the full moon where we can now walk into new beliefs and new philosophies and know that we've got this grand fire trine to be brave and courageous to do so. Align and be and live authentically, right? Through your heart chakra, Mars Leo. Speak the truth from your throat chakra, Venus Taurus, right? Let's not forget our friend. We still also have Juno, the asteroid of long-term relationships, commitment and marriage, and true Black Moon Lilith, which is kind of opposing the Venus in Taurus. Lilith in Scorpio is like trusting your root chakra, really even speaking to the emotional intelligence, because it's still kind of trining the Mercury Cancer and a little bit to the Jupiter in Cancer. So let's embrace this Sagittarius full moon, stay in gratitude, be positive and optimistic, and walk into a new era with new wisdom, new beliefs, and new philosophies, and stay on your spiritual journey and path. You're gonna need it. There's some rough roads ahead as we get into, July and August, and the eclipses end August and September. But you got this. Any questions, always reach out to Eric at BigEAstro.com, and you could check out my services. We're still dealing with Gemini season, the Gemini birth chart sale at BigEAstro.com. And I hope you enjoy this Sagittarius Strawberry Full Moon on June 11th at 20 degrees, 3:44 a.m. Eastern. BigE Astrology. Peace. That's it. And, remember, it's still Gemini season, and 20 degrees marks the third decan. That is the Gemini Aquarius decan. And these Geminis not only want to get the data and information, they want to pour out the wisdom and knowledge, right? They can be a little bit more detached than the Gemini or Gemini Libra decan. But this is where communication will slow down with Jupiter and Mercury now in Cancer. But this is where we can get more into our emotional intelligence and our feelings leading us to insight, new information, and knowledge. Sagittarius Strawberry Full Moon is about our wisdom, beliefs, and philosophies, and higher knowledge and consciousness and information. So I hope you also will join me with my Knowledge is Love tribe. My community is live. It is www.communitybigeastrology.com. All right. Monthly subscriptions, either $5 or $18 a month. Got over 13 groups, multitude of discounts, coffee talks, valued at $35. You receive free every month, whether you come or not, for $18. And it's a community for the people, where we can share our businesses, come together, really form a tribe online, and hopefully for some of us in person, but everybody's sharing their gifts, wisdom, knowledge, and talents. So I hope you come and join and be a part of my Knowledge is Love tribe, the extension from my podcast, Knowledge is Love Astrology podcast. And I wanted to create a safe space where we can speak truthfully, but learn and support one another and encourage one another and grow and share businesses with one another and support each other financially as well. This is going to be an amazing community, and I hope you enjoy this Sagittarius full moon. And go out there June 11th, ground yourself in nature, go for a walk or hike. You can put out your crystals and your moon water, and definitely do some journaling. Put your optimistic new wisdom, beliefs, and philosophies on your paper and put it under your mason jar, right? Or a glass jar, and put it there with your crystals so you have your moon water. And I would put that out on June 10th so you're ready as you awaken June 11th and enjoy your moon water, all right? And start off the day with some hot water, and then throughout the day, lemon water as well, all right? So little health tips and insights. I hope you enjoy this Sagittarius Strawberry Full Moon on June 11th at 20 degrees in the Grand Mutable Cross, and enjoy the rest of your Gemini season. I'm Eric Taylor, BigE Astrology. Peace.